In 2020, the Hub became the largest sexual website with over 47 million pieces of content. Welcome to the Junto Podcast.
That's right. Now, when we're talking about sexual content, there's a word that we aren't allowed to say on the internet or we'll get flagged. So the PRN word. So anytime you hear us say P Hub, this is the website that we're talking about. You can fill in the rest of the letters there.
Yeah, very interesting. First podcast episode of 2025. And as you can see, we're coming out swinging. We've thought about some things that we really want to talk about. And this year for 2025, we really want to speak about some things that we know people are not only going through, but maybe some things that we need to get set free from. So without further ado, Heather.
That's right. This topic of conversation is pretty dark and deep. So we do want to give that in case there's, some trigger warnings here. This is some more in-depth content that is not exactly on the lighter, happy, joyful side. But it is, in fact, truth, and so that's what we're about.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think it's a much-needed conversation. Obviously, 47 million pieces of content. And we're going to talk about why that's important. We're going to talk about some amazing content that we were able to find. Actually, Heather, you stumbled across this, so I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this and how this relates to our homes, how it even relates to information and the types of content that is uploaded to these websites. So,
right. And I did not know any of this information, but let me start off by saying that I follow, it's called Access Conversations, and it is a site or organization that helps parents. It's a resource for parents to get into conversations for their kids. What is the lingo? What are the topics that these teens and young adults are talking about? Even probably into elementary school, as young as that as well these days, because we all know that our kids have access to, everything. So I follow this Access Conversations, and they have a podcast called The Culture Translator. And the host, Evan Barber, he has this episode with Layla Micklethwait. And let me introduce her. That way y'all know who we're talking about and why we're talking about her. She is co-founder and CEO of the Justice Defense Fund, and I'm going to explain what that is here shortly. She's the leader of the Trafficking Hub movement and national best-selling author of Takedown: Inside the Fight to Shut Down P-Hub for Child Abuse, rape, and trafficking. And she's actually been in this since 2006. So she's been working on this for quite some time. Did you want to say anything before I go into the Justice Defense Fund and what that is? And
well, no, I just, this was pretty eye-opening just listening, and we're going to share a portion of the podcast that she did, in addition to maybe some news clips, a montage of some news clips that we found in relation to this. And so I think that a lot of people are going to be like us. We know that there's an awareness that pornography or things of that nature, sexual things, are something that is, I think, part of the human experience. We, like everything else, we believe there's a wrong and right way to do things. And let's just be honest, probably things that everyone has struggled with throughout one point in time in their life. So we feel like while this is kind of a little bit of a heavy conversation, we also know that this is a conversation that is needed and we need to have this. So,
right. And this isn't a conversation about should you access porn? I probably shouldn't have said that word. Should you be accessing it? Should you be watching it? Should people be making it and distributing it? This is not that conversation.
Because we know the answer to that already.
This is a conversation about one particular website that gained so much traction so quickly during COVID, and the processes and ways that they got content were not verified.
Yes.
There was some criminal activity they weren't being held accountable. And so that's why we're putting this information out there, because this is pretty fresh stuff here.
Yeah, it's pretty
You know,
wild.
right.
Very, very eye-opening to me, and I love how you mentioned that. It's very specific. It's very specific in nature, and what the author of the book and what the podcast talks about is very specific, very niche, and it goes a little deeper than simply uploading content to a website.
Definitely does. So I talked about Layla and the fact that she is the CEO of this Justice Defense Fund. And let me explain what that is. The Justice Defense Fund, JDF, is a nonpartisan, non-religious 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to empowering survivors of online sex trafficking, child sexual abuse material, and criminal image-based sexual abuse to pursue justice through strategic litigation and advocacy support. We also advocate for the adoption of policies to prevent the online distribution of sexual crime.
Wow.
This is what we're dealing with. Like I said, this is a deep thing. This is about justice and what's right and what's wrong, and bringing light and holding these companies that are making so much money accountable for wrong things.
Yeah.
That's what this is about.
Yeah, I love that. Should we watch that news montage?
Let's do it.
Let's see if we can get this pulled up, and hopefully this will kind of shed a little bit of light of what we're talking about as well.
Yeah.
This might be the biggest scandal you haven't heard about.
The largest porn website,
attracting 130 million users a day.
Wow.
Than Netflix or Amazon.
Goodness, it's huge.
rnHub is under investigation.
This is a company that did whatever it wanted until one woman and a laptop exposed the truth.
She is the founder of the Justice Defense Fund, one of the pioneers in anti-trafficking. Lila McElwain. Thank you
Wow.
for having me.
I was reading the story of a missing 15-year-old girl who was found when somebody tipped off her mother that she was in 58 videos on Pornhub being raped and abused.
My gosh.
The Times did an investigation. They found dozens of illegal videos, even children as young as 3 years old. How was this happening? I decided to test this upload system. In under 10 minutes, with only an email address, I was able to upload content that went live on the site. They weren't asking for an ID. They weren't asking for a consent form to make sure that this wasn't a rape or trafficking victim. The site became infested with videos of real sexual
crime.
I have to sound the alarm on this. I was posting on Twitter, started a petition. We're just about to hit 1 million.
2 million signatures.
Hundreds
Wow.
of organizations participating.
Man, she
Media
did some
started
work.
paying attention.
In your article, you write, with Pornhub, we have Jeffrey Epstein times 1,000.
This isn't about porn. This is about rape and sexual abuse of children.
Right.
Good Lord.
A boy, he was drugged, overpowered.
Trigger warnings here,
and
guys.
23 videos being sold on Pornhub.
Victims were speaking
My
out left
gosh.
and right.
This is going to haunt me for the rest of my life.
Whistleblowers were saying this is true.
Pornhub put profits over people.
Even the former owner of Pornhub reached out saying he wanted to help.
Oh my
Dozens of
gosh.
lawsuits were filed. We went after Visa and MasterCard to cut ties, but they were still resistant. Pornhub started attacking myself, victim. They don't want to stop because they're making a lot of money. And they fight dirty. Pornhub was so scared, they deleted 80% of their site. 10 million videos gone. Victims. They were so happy and relieved because for the first time in years, their rape videos were off of Pornhub. But the fight's not over. They are going to answer for what they've done.
Wow, very powerful stuff.
Yeah.
A lot to process, a lot to go through in that video. And I'll be honest, guys, that hit hard. You're talking about minors being drugged. It's just a lot to process, and I hope you see why we feel like this conversation is so important. So, Heather, I know you did a lot of research on this, so I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on some of that. But man, what do you think about what we just watched, and what stuck out to you in terms of this?
Yeah, just very eye-opening, and we all know that criminal things happen, and everyone has a phone these days, so things get uploaded to the internet. Times are different. Back in our day, we didn't have to worry about things that we did that were stupid. being shared over and over and over again. And imagine victims of this, of actual rape, actually being drugged and things happening to you, being shared, not just on this site, but they actually, and we'll go into some more detail later, but they had a download button on this site, this PHub site, where anyone could download any of the videos and share them across multiple avenues, online, internet, across the universe.
Well, what's even more is that there were no parameters put in place.
Right.
Anybody could have been uploading this content, and I don't want to get ahead.
No, yeah, you're right.
Anybody could have uploaded this content. There was no verification to see if these were actual minors. And so, my gosh, it reminds me of, or it brings to light to me, now here we are, we're in January 2025. It's actually January 20th when we're recording this. President Trump just got elected or sworn in, rather, today. But if you know anything about what just happened this last week, TikTok just got banned. And they did it so quickly. And it brings to light that, my gosh, if they can ban a social media app,
take it down.
If they can take it down and they can... we saw it done. We lived it. We saw it done. We opened the app and it said, guess what? You can't use this app anymore. So it brings to light the question that if we can shut down a social media app, why are we not taking the steps to shut down these websites that are hosting porn or
Can't
stuff
say that word.
that are hosting stuff on the hub that is unverified, that literally anybody can upload, and even in cases, as she mentioned, some of that stuff was of minors, and I just got to give her major kudos for the work that she's done. I haven't read the book Takedown, but man, after kind of learning about some of this stuff, I think that we're gonna try to get that book and maybe even learn more.
Yeah, because 100% of proceeds goes back to this Justice Defense Fund and continuing the fight. But she also talks about in the podcast, which we're going to get to, that she received threats, her family,
I'm sure.
that they were playing dirty because of all the money that was involved. I mean, they were making bukus.
Wow.
So the name of the book, Takedown, Inside the Fight to Shut Down PHub, and the website is takedownbook.com. You can actually go on there and purchase the book there. Like I said, all the proceeds go to continuing the fight. So we're definitely going to promote and support that. But backing up a little bit as to how this actually, how did the hub, I'm going to call it the hub, how did it get as big as it got? So started in 2020, or that's when the boom, that's when they're like, okay, people are in their houses.
Oh, dude.
They're lonely.
Pandemic.
They're isolated. They can't go out. So she even says, that their motto, their modus operandi is, we're going to entertain you while you're at home at this time. And so it boomed. They, so many pieces of content were being uploaded from anyone.
Right.
Absolutely anyone. And all you needed was an email address to do so.
An email address
That's
to
it.
upload freaking
anything.
Explicit content. An email address was all you needed.
From your phone. A phone.
Wow.
And an email address. Okay. And they try to position themselves. This is how they grew and became as big as they were so quickly, as this benevolent humanitarian type organization. They wanted to save the whales, and they were giving money. They actually, during COVID, donated tons of masks to people that way. They're just doing so much good with all the money that they're shoveling in.
Yeah.
Right. And she even talks about that they had 30 people. This was this research that she's done. 30 people were monitoring millions of pieces of content. And so they weren't even like listening to this content. They were just like viewing it like, okay, pass, put it on. Okay, pass, this looks, push it, push it through, put it in.
So they're monitoring it, but what are they?
No verification.
No verification.
Is this person of legal age? Was there consent with what's happening right now? None of
and
that.
of course, from their perspective, the more content they have,
the more the better. That was their thing.
That's
the
all
more
they wanted.
Just get it
More,
up,
more,
get it
more.
up, get it up.
Yeah.
That's how they became the biggest.
Yeah.
And so the biggest PRON site they became, but they were also in the top overall websites in existence.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting. So not only are they the top explicit content or the top hub, they're the top ones there, but then listen to this, guys. You saw in that video more downloads than Netflix, than Amazon Prime. And guess what? Here's the kicker. I hate to say this, but some of the ones using that content are the children in your own home.
Right.
You know, how crazy are we that we just give devices to our kids? And, you know, I have teenagers and a young adult, 20 years old. And so, you know, the norm, how crazy are we that we're so busy with life and we're raising the other littles, and like everybody else out there, you got jobs and a million other obligations, and that you really lose track. And so there they are. And many of those users, when you stop and think about that, they are children or young adults, teenagers in our own homes, man.
Right. They weren't confirming those accessing it, the ages of access.
Yeah.
So not of access or upload, none of those things. They were too big. They were too big too. They couldn't possibly.
Wow.
And another thing, another promo that they did to get so big, they offered their premium service for free during that COVID time. So I'm talking like all the things, right?
Premium service for free.
Another one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about as well are the victims. You know, I want to give some light to some of the victims, and she talks about how so many, since they started this process, how many victims have come forward with evidence and saying that was not consent. And even some of the videos, that trigger warning here that they talked about, you could tell the person was unconscious, like the person making the video like provided evidence that this person was out.
Wow.
You know, this is criminal things here. You're talking rape, sexual abuse, right? Trafficking even, which leads me into this. Let me read this, and I'm going to let you.
Definitely.
So P-Hub verified a 15-year-old who was missing for a year into their Model Hub program. She was found being raped in 58 videos. P-Hub took 35% of the profit from her rape video sales.
You know, I'm somewhat just speachless, just thinking about having daughters of my own. But here's the thing, you know, when we think about, you know, slavery or human trafficking, and the thing about it is there are more people in bondage right now than there have probably ever been on the face of the earth. You're talking about, my God, and that's just 58 videos that were found. Think about how many other videos that there could have potentially been that have never been seen or that weren't uploaded. And oh my God, I'm just thinking about that poor soul, you know. And here's a thought too that occurs to me. You know, let's just be honest. A lot of us were exposed to some things at a very young age. I know I was kind of one of those people. And when you look at it from this perspective, the things that you're watching, my God, you're supporting this type of
criminal activity.
Not only criminal activity, but it's evil.
Immoral.
It's immoral. Think about,
Indecent.
you know, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I hope that this perspective, or maybe this information, maybe just resonates a little bit deeper, a little bit more when it comes to that. Obviously, this is the Together podcast, the Junto podcast, and everything we do is always from that perspective of faith. And so we're not trying to sit here and act 100% clean and holier than thou, but you understand how crucial it is. And hopefully this perspective is eye-opening, and it will allow us, if you're struggling with that, man, come on, this is a new perspective to hopefully get out of that mindset.
Right. And to maybe definitely informational. That's
Yeah.
what we're about,
Oh,
is
my
giving you
gosh.
this information.
Right,
You take
right.
it, run with it, do with it what you will. But thinking about the things that we watch, like you said, and look at and give our time to, and give our what do you call it when a site gets clicks and they get ads because they have so many,
Algorithms,
right?
yeah,
You're adding to and a
Yeah.
part of that algorithm, whether you know it or not.
Oh, once you click on it once, your feed gonna start blowing up with
yes,
stuff.
and that was another thing that she talked about as well, is that the hub that they were collecting, everyone who visited their site, they were collecting so much data from these people that they didn't know. They had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is just a informational. Be aware. Be aware and care about it. Can you imagine knowing one of these victims, or being one of these victims, where you're a situation where you were suffering and not consenting, and it's being shared and viewed over and over and over, and thinking about that rabbit trail of having to, let's beg to get it off of this site, but then someone shared it to this one, so then you have to contact this site,
right?
And sometimes not getting a response, getting I don't care, you can't send me proof that it wasn't consent type of situation. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
that's unthinkable.
It's insane, actually.
To me,
it's insane. I want to go back to the Culture Translator podcast, because I know you said there's an actual clip we're going to listen to, and it's from Laura Mickelwaite, who wrote this book. And so Heather actually stumbled upon this. Tell us a little bit about Access real quick, and what they do.
So the Access Conversations, like I said, it's a resource for parents. They have all the new age trendy things that are going on that are the younger generations, young adults. I mean, even I don't know, us our age as well, are seeing, viewing the deep, dark, underground internet situations that most parents that are busy, like you said, work jobs and 10 trillion things going on that they're not aware even exist.
Yeah.
What they do is they take it and say, hey, our kids, our teens, our young adults today, they know about this particular subject. And here's a way that you can start a conversation by asking them these questions.
Yeah.
Because they're getting information on it.
Absolutely.
And so you can either sweep it under the rug or stick your head in the sand and pretend like they're not seeing and viewing these things, or you can have conversations with them and give them the right, proper perspective about the information that they're seeing.
That's it. So
it's a
that's
great resource.
Great resource. So Access basically is aware of all the things going on and gives parents resources or suggestions, Christian-based, Christian company, biblical stuff, and opens the door, or is a help for you as parents to come alongside, and maybe not even parents, a leader, a teacher, a mentor, whatever it is, in the ministry,
counselor.
That's it.
At schools, whatever. This is great. So,
all right. So, do you want to set up this clip for us real quick that we're going to listen to? I believe this is where she's talking about how they masked themselves in being like a charitable organization.
Yes. All the ways that and this is how they gained popularity. And he even says, I hate to say the word, but prestige. And this, we're talking about a sexually explicit site here. Just a reminder about that, of course.
Right.
And so he hates to even say the word prestige. Because of the criminal activity that they allowed, knew about, weren't verifying, didn't care, denying, saying, it's okay, people, this is just a little bump in the road, talking about Layla and the work that she was putting forth and the organizations that came alongside her, thankfully, and helped her to shed light and try and get some accountability here.
Awesome. This is about a 2 minute, 30-second clip from the Culture Translator podcast through the Access Network. And this is Laura Mickelwaite, author of Takedown. Let's check this out.
Was an email address. So in under 10 minutes, anybody in the entire world could film a sex video on an iPhone in a hotel room, in a park, in the back of a car, wherever, and upload it to Pornhub and anonymously. And they were not checking ID to make sure that this is not a child. They were not checking a consent form to make sure that this is not a rape or trafficking victim.
Insane.
And essentially, in the first instance, that is how so many videos of sexual crime had been uploaded to Pornhub. And what I quickly realized by starting to put the pieces together was that Pornhub was actually infested with videos of real rape, real trafficking, all kinds of non-consensual criminal image-based abuse. And I, said, look, this is a trafficking hub, and started a hashtag that started to take off on social media, and started a petition that went viral. Today we have 2.3 million signatures from every country in the world.
Jeez.
And as this virality was happening, victims started to come forward on a regular basis. Sometimes every day, victims were coming forward saying, I had my child abuse on Pornhub. I
Child
have
abuse.
my rape on Pornhub
Filmed.
right now.
Raped.
Victim after victim. Not
Being
only
viewed.
that, but whistleblowers
Being
coming
viewed.
forward from the company.
And someone making
the
money off of
moderator
it.
team, all of insiders, even the former owner of Pornhub came forward to help expose the company. And what we learned was that there were these layers of complicity. So not only were they not checking age and consent, but they only had 30 moderators working for Pornhub's millions and millions of videos that were being uploaded.
Wow.
Not only Pornhub, because Pornhub's owned by a parent company called MindGeek, and MindGeek has a monopoly on the global porn industry. They own, about 80% of the world's most popular porn sites and brands, including so many other of these tube sites. So it was like RedTube, XTube, GayTube, ExtremeTube, Pornhub, on and on and on. And 30 moderators were working 10 per shift, and they were just skipping through thousands of videos per shift. Like, they were reprimanded if they watched less than 700 videos per shift. And some of the more experienced moderators were doing up to 2,200, where they would just skip through and with the sound off. And it was essentially what they told me.
Unbelievable.
This was a guessing game.
Wow. Lots to digest there. God, even on another level, first of all, it's just insane. 700 videos per shift. So how in the world 30 moderators for the entire
30
world?
people.
30 people.
To go through all that content, all that information.
And so you know stuff. And in real life rape, guys, when you're watching that, you don't think that you're watching an actual rape occur. Just blown away. And then I'm thinking about the guys or the individuals who are working the job. You're feeding your mind with that. You're watching 700 videos per shift, day in and day out, desensitizing yourself, feeding your spirit, nothing but that stuff. And I'm going to tell you, it just opens up the door for so much more.
It does. And then saying they were reprimanded if they did less than a certain number. So of course they weren't verifying. Of course they had no time to. They were like, well, this looks like it's legit uploaded. Like, here we go. Just wild. Just the persistence of Layla and her team and the people who give signatures. I mean, they're still working on this show. This is
this is ongoing.
This is still going. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, the premise of the takedown is they are trying to take down this entity. They are trying to take down Pornhub. And as you saw or heard rather from the podcast clip, Pornhub is one of several. My gosh, they own 80%, have a monopoly on the adult content, sexually explicit monopoly on that type of content. So you're talking about this is a giant. This is an absolute giant. So I commend the work that has been done up to this point. And I don't know about you, but this is a fight that we definitely want to be part of. Hopefully just bringing this to mind to whoever might listen or watch this video will be as eye-opening to you as it was for us, because this is pretty mind-blowing.
It was. One more tidbit of information,
Please.
and then I want to talk about how we can take this info and talk with our children and
beautiful
young
yes.
adults, and we'll go into that. So
Beautiful.
because of the work of this defense, Justice Defense Fund, they went, the hub went from 46 million pieces of content to 5.2 today.
Oh wow.
So it's working, and they're taking it down. So they were forced to take down 90% of their content.
Well, they
because
know
it
they're
was
being monitored
unverified.
now,
right?
Because they're not doing it.
They're
so
like, well, maybe now we should. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
there you go. But on another, taking it further, having a conversation, not even as a parent, like you said, ministry leaders, counselors, you're in the schools with these young adults, teenagers, even as young as elementary, because they have
Right.
phones and they have all the access to this stuff. How can we guard their hearts? How can we
good.
help to guard their minds and instill wisdom into these children? Because
yeah.
they have access. If
They do.
if they have a phone, if they have an iPad, these gaming consoles either, like
Yeah.
those get on the internet,
Oh gosh,
right?
100%.
So they have the access. So Access organization actually, they go into further because Evan asked Layla, what can we do as
What can we
parents?
do?
What can we do as leaders, the older generation?
Right.
So having the conversations with them, asking or talking about human trafficking. That's something that even the young kids today, they know what that is.
Yeah, that's right.
Like they've heard about it. They know what it is. And to many of them, it's a source or a place of, like, they want justice for
Yeah,
that because they do know
100%.
about it. They know what it is. So maybe right off the bat, talking about PORN with them,
Yeah.
maybe is going to be one of those things where, like, they shut down. Like, I'm not talking about that with you.
Right,
But if you talk
right.
about human trafficking and how something like the hub, this type of site, how it can add to or cause or feed into the human trafficking and child abuse situation.
Right.
That's something that can trigger their hearts into, okay, I need to listen to this. So talking about these sites, engaging in the legal aspect of child abuse, child exploitation, child abuse, image-based sexual abuse, sending nude images or videos. This is another extension of that
Wow.
our kids deal with.
My gosh.
Right?
Yeah. And
Someone asking them to send me nude pictures, send me these videos,
Well, and
someone they're crushing on.
I'm thinking about even the games they play. Roblox,
Yes.
it's a door because
door in.
people pretend to be minors, and then there's an
There you
older
go.
person, and they begin to groom somebody that's young. They begin
Become
to ask
friends.
for those pictures and things of that nature. So it's all connected. It is all connected.
It's all connected. And then sharing with them, okay, the aspect of you share a video and you think it's private and it's just going to go to this one person. It's going to stay with them.
Right.
The likelihood of it staying there, no.
That's
It
right.
gets shared with classmates. It gets shared on the internet. Once it's there,
Oh, 100%.
someone who knows where downloads it, they share it. I'm telling you, it's forever in the system. It's forever in the atmosphere. Even Snapchat, they talk about the content, some Snapchat content. You think you're in a private chat
yeah.
group sending things.
Right.
And that information is viewed by others that aren't just in that chat room. There's access. They have access to it.
Well, and I'm just thinking about just the people's nature, especially with younger people. You share something you think is private, you end up breaking up or you start fighting and that stuff gets shared.
Blackmail.
Man, and it leads to other things. There have been young people that have taken their own life
yes.
as a result of
Yes.
something like this. So, we say that to say that this type of content or this industry, it's just all connected to so many other things. And so there's a level of awareness that we have to have.
Yes.
This was huge. This was extremely eye-opening. I had no idea about the unverified content. I mean, obviously it makes sense, height of the pandemic in 2020, they're going to capitalize on it. It's just, man, it's sad. It's scary. It's crazy. Come on. I just think that if we can view this through this perspective, I think this can really help a lot of people and can actually be a benefit to those who are struggling with viewing this kind of stuff. So
definitely. And a wake-up call for us as parents, caregivers,
Big
guardians
time.
of younger children, whether we're in the school systems, whether we're
Big time.
someone's mentor, whatever.
Yeah.
As an example, I wanted to share this because this is something like, wow, like really this exists, you know?
Yeah.
With these chat rooms, communication apps, the different ones, adults praying, pretending to be kids, being friends.
Right.
So they get to know and become friends with this underage, this minor, and they say, you know, just send me a nude picture of yourself. Send me this, whatever. And they send the picture. And then once they have that picture, they say, hey, you know, I've got this picture now. Like, I want you to make this video for me, and I want you to do specifically this, and that. And if they say no, they're like, well, you know, I've got this picture. You know, I can send this to your mom and dad. I know who they are. Like, I know where you go to school. Like, I know, like, I'm going to send this to all your friends. So using that as blackmail.
Gosh.
So that the minor will do the things. And then they take that content and they go and they make money. They share it and they upload it. And
upload it.
There it is.
Of an innocent child or young person.
And when you're that age, believing this, this person is going to like end your life. Like, this is the end of the world. Like, I have to do this, or they're going to send that picture to my parents or like my friends.
100%.
Like, my school is going to see this. Like, really believing that. That is just, I want to like,
it's sad,
strangle some people.
but it is so real. It happens all the freaking time. And guys, if you don't think there's predators in your own community,
oh my gosh, yes.
we just had a bomb dropped on us not too long ago. Not going into any types of detail, but things that rock your world, things that you would never guess, or people that you would never guess could do. Y'all, it happened. It's happening right in your own neighborhood, right in your community. So, guys, we have to be aware of this, and we have to take the steps to protect and guard the hearts, minds, and innocence of our kids. Man,
we do. We've got to, and so important is. Teenagers, kids, young adults, they need someone they can trust, that they can talk to. You know, I like with your kids, I know sometimes it's hard for them to talk to the parent because they don't want to get in trouble. So they need a counselor, they need a mentor, they need someone they can talk to. Hopefully your kids can talk to you, or you can be that person for someone else's, you know. But as adults, we need to step up and be available and ready and be aware of what's going on so that we can have these conversations. Because kids aren't just going to open up to anybody.
No, man.
They're not going to.
No.
Like, for real. Kids are
for real.
smart.
I know.
They're like, no, I'm going to hold on to that info for right now.
And then you're going to live with guilt and shame and whatever the case may be. So
that's it.
Well, I appreciate your research, Heather, and bringing this subject to us. I think it's one that needed to be talked about. We hope you guys learned something. We hope this was an eye-opening conversation to you. Buy the book, support Laura Micklewait's, what she's doing there to take down Pornhub. And I know this was very informative, very eye-opening. So excited about 2025. We're going to be bringing content like this, something that's some stuff that's got a little more substance. Some of it, it's hard to talk about, but guess what? Somebody's got to do it, and it might as well be us. So
that's it.
We appreciate you guys. Quote. Yes, give it to us.
This being Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday.
That's correct.
Today is his day. I did want to share this quote. He said, "Change doesn't roll in on the wheels of inevitability," meaning it comes through continuous struggle. Like, there has to be an active, positive change.
Right.
Or effort, for that change to occur. So you can't just, okay, I know about it.
Yeah.
But what?
But what?
What are you going to do? You're just going to sit on it? No. You gotta be a part of it. You gotta be a part of the positive, good things.
Exactly.
Change.
So good stuff. Well, hope you guys were encouraged, informed, and we're looking forward to an amazing year here in 2025 on the Junto Podcast. That's right. The Together Podcast. We'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Junto Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find our link to YouTube and social media at juntopodcast.com. Remember to subscribe, like, and follow. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.